Some of the best movies in the world, even though they are very, very good, also have one or two mistakes.
You has made your mistake.
Yeah, but
And many mistakes before that.
And with Inside Out 2, it wouldn't be any different.
Have I ever steered you wrong before?
Many times.
The question is, did you notice any of these mistakes when you watched the movie? For example, right at the beginning of the movie, we noticed something very strange happening. When the Foghorn, Riley's team, enter the hockey rink, we see a large group of fans behind the team. But if you look closely, you'll notice a strange detail. We can see that the same person is in two different places. On one side, we see a dark-haired man in a black shirt with a beard and crossed arms. And on the other side, we see the same man with the same clothes and beard, but without the crossed arms. So either they are twins with the same taste in clothes, or Pixar sped up the work and ended up repeating the same character twice. Honestly, I think it's the second option. But surely none of this makes Inside Out 2 any less sensational. However, besides this small mistake, we found some other very interesting ones. One of the funniest scenes in the movie is definitely when Lance Slashblade appears on the scene and uses his move against Riley's mind police group who wanted to arrest the Emotions again. And given the character's stature, of course the group of guards expects something much more intense, so they slow down their run and notice that the third guard, the one with the mustache, has his hands empty. But when Lance slowly passes by them and we see the group laughing at the game character's attack, notice that now the guard has handcuffs in his hands. Probably the idea was to arrest the Emotions or even Lance himself, but for sure this is more like a great magic trick. Going back a bit to the scene where the Emotions are still locked in the glass jar, we see that despite Lance's goodwill in trying to free them, he fails miserably. Then Riley's hidden secret punches the top and shatters the glass where they are trapped. In this scene, despite being very cool, there is something that doesn't make much sense, and I'm sure you felt it too when you watched it. You just didn't know what it was. As the secret punches from bottom to top, the normal thing would be for the lid part to go down when the glass shattered, but it goes sideways inexplicably. We know this is a cartoon and logic and the laws of physics don't always apply, but surely this one wouldn't go unnoticed by our eyes. Going back a bit further in the story to a scene related to the previous mistake we just mentioned, there's a moment when embarrassment grabs all 5 emotions at once. If you look closely, you can see the feet of all the emotions being lifted: sadness, disgust, anger, fear, and joy? Well, it looks like the feet of the leader of the former Emotions got cut out of the scene. The reason? We're not sure, but maybe it was to avoid too many feet in the shot. But given the height of the yellow emotion, they definitely should have been visible in that scene. And if you also think it's a mistake to cut off parts of characters like they did with Joy, comment down below, #feet, because if they were there, at least we could tickle them. After all, Joy is the only emotion that doesn't wear shoes or socks.
Don't you worry. I'm going to make sure that tomorrow is another great day.
Now let's talk about 2 small continuity errors involving events from the first film that inexplicably changed in the second, and that's why we consider them minor mistakes. Before Riley arrives at the hockey camp, we see her and her friends get into the Anderson family's car to head to the location. At that moment, we can see that the car's license plate is ITAH 286, which, as we mentioned in our Easter egg video, is a reference to Pixar's founding date. The detail is that in the first movie, when the family arrives in San Francisco, the license plate was completely different, OMC 614. So we can say that Pixar made this change to pay tribute to itself, but at the same time, they made a small slip-up.
You're kidding, right?
Okay.
The other continuity error is very subtle, and practically no one who watched the movie noticed it. When we get closer to the end of the movie, we see several of the emotions that Joy wanted to hide from Riley's mind end up falling into the river and going to the girl's conviction center. And we can see that one of them is exactly that memory of when Riley steals her mom's credit card to buy a ticket to Minnesota. In this case, the error is in the emotion being purple, which is the color of fear. However, all of Riley's actions during the credit card theft were orchestrated by anger and executed with him at the control panel. For this reason, this memory should be red, the color of anger, not purple, the color of fear.
We were naked and there was a dog, but the back half was chasing him and it was a big one.
Now moving to the scene where the hockey team girls stop in front of the coach's office to talk about her notebook, we notice that in one of the corners, next to the notebook, there is a clipboard. But in the very next scene, we see that the clipboard disappears, and when we view the desk through Riley's eyes, it's not there anymore either. The most interesting part is, when Riley goes to the place at night to read the coach's notes, it reappears. Speaking of the coach's notebook, we notice another small logic error involving the item. When anxiety appears in Riley's mind, she shows the other emotions various possible scenarios, and in one of them, the coach is writing things down in her red notebook. But how did Anxiety know the notebook was red if Riley had never seen it before? I wouldn't call it a mistake, only if Pixar tells me Anxiety guessed the color right. If that's the case, I think I'll ask her for the lottery numbers too.
She's our friend and she's crazy!
Another thing we noticed in the movie that doesn't make much sense and left me quite puzzled was the fact that Envy knew exactly the sequence to open the elevator so Anxiety could take her first memory to the center of convictions. Which doesn't make any sense to me, since the only one who knew the sequence of keys and colors to operate the elevator was apparently Joy. This is a logic error, unless the new emotions somehow spied on the old emotions and we still don't know how.
These girls are so cool! We can't let her know we're excited.
When Riley arrives at the hockey camp, she sees various people in front of the place. Notice that there's a girl in a red shirt leaning on a hockey stick right behind Riley while she's talking to Val for the first time. However, when the scene shifts to the front of the gym and we see the hockey team captain calling the protagonist to join her, note that the same girl is there near the entrance of the training facility. Another case of background character duplication in Inside Out 2, just like the first one on our list. And if you enjoy animated shows and movies, it's a great idea to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. This way, it'll be harder for you to miss our upcoming videos that are posted every day.
He's very persuasive.
Later on, when Riley is with the Firehawks team girls eating pizza, we see that one of the girls sitting next to Val is holding a soda cup while talking to the owner of the main emotions in the movie. But in the next scene where we see her, which in Riley's time happens right after, the soda cup has disappeared from her hands. Like magic. When the emotions are searching for Riley's old sense of self that Anxiety had thrown far away, they come up with the idea of following the river of Riley's consciousness. When they reach the riverbanks, as everything is constantly being rebuilt, we notice that several memories are disorganized and scattered on the ground. The detail is that among these memories, we notice some orange ones, which would belong to Anxiety. This doesn't make any sense, as the new emotion was only recently at the command center and wouldn't have had enough time to create so many memories to be scattered like that.
Where can I put my stuff?
A new emotion!
Oh, I'm sorry.
Still involving these emotions that are in that place according to the scene you just saw, we saw that next to them there's a small rack where the memories are organized, somewhat like an egg carton. However, when the scene changes angle and we should see this same rack again, we only see the memory spheres on the ground but no sign of the memory ball rack. Another inexplicable disappearance. But hold on, this isn't the last one. When Riley starts using sarcasm thanks to Ennui's actions, an abyss opens up in front of everyone, and one of Riley's mind workers passes by in a sort of golf cart and informs them that it's the abyss of sarcasm. You can see him continue on his way wherever he was going. The detail is that when we get a panoramic view of the place and see the emotions literally on the edge of the abyss, we see that first, there was nowhere for the golf cart to go since the emotions were also on the edge of the riverbank. And second, there are several concrete pipes that would prevent him from going any other way. And third, we don't see him turning around and returning the way he came. So the question is, where did the character and his cart go? Or where did they end up? Did he fall into the river and then into the abyss, and the emotions didn't even notice? That would certainly be very tragic, but at the same time funny. So if you like this video, and you surely must have since you made it this far, we want you to keep having fun. That's why we're suggesting these two really cool videos that are now appearing on your screen at this moment. Just click on the one you prefer, and you'll definitely see another great video in sequence. And the best part? We'll continue together. Thanks, and see you in the next video.